Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Donna and this is Donna Loves Yarn. I'm trying a different orientation today on my phone, so hopefully it works. I hope it works. Anyway, welcome to my channel. Like I said, oh my gosh, I'm scatterbrained. You see, what you get is what you get here. What you see is what you get. Anyway, I wanted to just get on here real quick and share some things with you. Today is Monday, and again, I forgot to write down the date. It's the first part of March. It's Monday, and I forgot to check the date. I'm really sorry. It's 2024. I do know that. So I just wanted to show you a few things. I want to talk about a couple things, and I don't know if it'll be a long video or not, but if it is, I hope you stick around for the whole thing. I really do. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I've had a few recently, so I welcome you. And if you're new here, sometimes I get tongue-tied. If you're new here, this channel is all about yarn and crochet. And sometimes I throw in some life stuff and pet stuff and things of that nature. But for the most part, it's yarn and crochet. So if you like one or both of those, you are in the right place. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy your stay. So I'm going to start out with, and I have some notes here. Hopefully I don't make a lot of noise with my paper. I'm going to start out with the, won't stay. Sorry. I'm going to start out with my crochet group that I had yesterday. I would have done a video yesterday, but, my son was here, so I'd rather do these things when he's not here. So the crochet group that we have meets every other Sunday in the town where I moved from. So there's a few people there, that I already was acquainted with. And, a couple of them were there yesterday. Anyway, it was a good time. It wasn't a full house like we've had in times past, but there was still quite a few people. So it was a good time, and I knew going in that I was going to be spending the majority of my time teaching. And if you watched one of my recent videos, I mentioned Nancy that's in my group, and she's a new crocheter. And so she's learning, and she recently learned double crochet. She actually also learned half double crochet. So I guess her granddaughter's helping her with that. But I talked, a lot about this South Bay shawl, and I considered it pretty easy. I mean, it's all double crochet for the most part. It's double crochet, only 2-row repeat. So to me, it's easy. I mean, I've only been doing this for 2 years. I am by no stretch. I don't even know that I would consider myself an intermediate. I may be an advanced beginner. I push myself only so far. And for instance, I would like to learn to make a cardigan, and I'm sure that I could stitch it. That's not the problem. The problem is when you're making a cardigan, generally you're doing it in pieces. You're doing a back piece, you're doing 2 front panels, you're doing the sleeves. Well, the sleeves must be sewn on, right? Or stitched on. You're going to have a raw edge around the sleeve opening. I have a really hard time when it comes to stitching into a raw edge where there's no defined stitches, such as when you are, like when you're making a hat. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm trying to make a point. When you're making a hat, some people will start with a ribbed band and work their way up. I can't do that because with the ribbed band, you start on the edge of that ribbing to work your hat in the round. There are no defined stitches. You have to know row by row by row, and you have to get the stitches even, or you're going to have puckering or you're going to have gaps. So I struggle a lot when it comes to stitching into raw edge, what I call a raw edge. So that's why I've not done a cardigan. The raglan style cardigans or tops would be the closest I would be able to attempt making a cardigan or a top, because everything is just worked from top down, and then you work your sleeves into the opening, and I don't believe that's a raw edge. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be the only type of wearable that I would do, would be a raglan style. So all that to say, you know, I'm probably an advanced beginner because I haven't ventured into that realm and gotten good at it. I haven't even gotten into it. So let alone gotten good at it. So this South Bay shawl to me seemed very easy. And I thought that, I thought Nancy would have an easy time doing it. Well, it's possible I'm just not a good teacher. I was thinking about it last night, and I probably should have approached it in a different way. I probably should have started by starting it myself and letting her watch. And then I thought maybe I should have just started the shawl for her and gotten the setup rows done, and then she could have worked into my stitches. That probably would have worked a lot better. Nancy, if you're watching this, tell me if that's a good idea, because I'd be happy to do that. I'm sure by now she's probably ripped it out, and I told her she probably would. Anyway, we sat down for the whole time and we worked on this shawl. And for being new, for being a beginner, she did really well. I thought she did really well. When she was going into the loops to make the double crochet, she was going through the top 2 loops every time. So that was good. I have to say that she's not used to working with thinner yarns. And I hadn't really taken that into consideration. She's been working with 4-weight yarns. Just because I like working with fine yarns doesn't mean that everybody does. Just because I feel like I'm good with finer yarns doesn't mean it's everybody's cup of tea. There are plenty of people out there that steer very clear of fine yarns for whatever reason. So Nancy might be one of those people. And, maybe if she were to make this shawl, and Nancy, if you're watching, you might think about this, rather than doubling that yarn, which I mentioned to her yesterday, rather than doubling it, get a 3 or 4 weight yarn and try the shawl with that. Just use a little bigger hook. Whatever hook size is recommended on the band, go up a size. so that it's not stiff. So if you have a 4-weight yarn or 3-weight yarn, it says to use a 6 hook. If you have a 7, use a 7. Of course, you're a loose stitcher anyway, but I think with the bigger hook, I think it would be easier for you to determine each stitch and get into the stitch, and I think it'd just be easier. And, you know, this message goes out to any of you who might be new and want to get into making a shawl and are kind of leery about lighter weight yarns. You know, make the same shawl pattern, just use a bigger hook, and, you know, it'll be drapey enough. Just use a bigger hook. You don't have to always use the hook that the yarn recommends. So, anyway, while I was teaching her, I thought, okay, it's going to be best for me to take a yarn myself and start from the beginning. So that's what I did. So guess what? I started another project. I started another South Bay shawl. And that's good. That's fine, because to me, this thing works up really fast. So, you know, I'll have this thing done probably in a week. Maybe a couple, since I have so many other projects going. But anyway, I started looking through my yarns to see what would be a nice yarn to make another South Bay shawl with. And I took the yarn band off, and I don't have it here with me, but this is a Hobie Sultan Cotton Kings all cotton cake, and it's really pretty. That's gonna be a beautiful neutral. Oh, the sun's coming in. That's gonna be a beautiful neutral colored shawl. You know, not everybody wants colorful, not everybody wants, you know, sparkly. Some people just want neutral. So I think that's going to be really pretty. So here's my progress so far on that. I just love this shawl. It's really pretty. So I'm working from the outside of the cake in. I thought the darker color would be prettier on the top versus the bottom. And then in the center, you've got that dusty pink. So that's going to be really pretty. I love that shawl. For those of you that want the tutorial, Helene at Cabin Fever Crochet, I've mentioned her in several other videos. She has a great tutorial for it. Just look up Cabin Fever Crochet South Bay shawl and you'll find it. I'll link her channel below. So I started that one. Oh shoot, I didn't write. Did I? Yeah, I did. I wrote it down. So I started another one. The day before I started that one, I started another one. And this is a different kind of shawl for me. It's a boomerang shawl. And I got the idea from Brandy at Queen of Skeins. Hi, Brandy. She's working on a couple of them. And she happened to show this one, and it was crochet. She knits and crochets, but she happened to show it, and it was a crochet pattern. And it's called the Thomas shawl, or the Thomas shawl by Yarn Andy. One word, Yarn Andy. She's got a great channel. I'll link her below. But Thomas, T-O-M-I-S shawl. And it is, like I said, a boomerang. So I am using a Yarn Bee. Oh, I should have brought the hank in. Yarn Bee Authentic Hand Dyed in Blue Vapor. And this is where I started. It's obviously curling significantly. Brandy, did yours curl? I'm using a 3.75 millimeter hook on this. This is where it started. And I decided to add a couple pops of color. So I had this pale yellow that I decided to add. And then I'm going along, seeing all these pretty colors, and I got inspired to add a different one. And actually, this was a purple. I thought purple might be pretty, a real kind of a lightish purple, not bright purple. But the more rows I added, the less I liked it. So I tore it out and pulled out this orange. This is a heathered orange from Knit Picks. And so I added that because there's some little orange flecks in the yarn. So the yellow and the orange, and then I'm going to keep going until I'm out of this. I have 2 hanks of this, and I'll decide when I get to the end of this. I've got this much left. I'll decide when I get to the end of this if I want to put more, add more. But if I do, I probably have a darker version of this. So we go from yellow to orange to maybe a darker, like a rust orange toward the end. Maybe. We'll see. But it's already pretty long. This is my first boomerang shawl. So I just started that. When did I start that? Friday or Saturday. Might have been Friday. No, it was Saturday. I started it Saturday because I started the South Bay shawl on Sunday. So I started this on Saturday. And, you know, it could be done now if I wanted it to be. Okay, so moving on to the next one. And I've talked about this one already, and I just wanted to share my progress. This is the Brunin shawl. And I didn't write down the designer's name. It was in my last tutorial, if you want to go look at that. Anyway, this is the Brunin shawl, and I got the idea from Mary at Slow Crochet, and I linked her in my last video. But this is made with a cotton cake from Hobie. And as you can see, it's getting lighter at the bottom. This is really, really pretty. Really pretty. This is probably the most challenging shawl I've done. It's 7-row repeat. But it's gorgeous. And I still have that much left to go. And that I have to rip out when the time comes. So it'll end with that really pale orange. It's going to be a good size one, I think. So I've been working on all of these actually, off and on throughout the day. So there's that one. Let me talk about what I'm wearing. I've showed this before. I was just wearing a plain old t-shirt, so I thought I'd throw this on. This is the leafy shawl from Stina at My World of Crochet. This is her pattern. And I really like this shawl. It's pretty. It's got leaf motifs. It's really pretty. All right, so the last thing that I'm actively working on is this inlines poncho. And I'm almost through with my second skein. Vicky Jo at Crochet with Vicky Jo, she and I are working on this together. She's probably already done. Last I talked to her, I think yesterday, or might have been the day before. I don't know if I talked to her yesterday. She was already on the 3rd skein, probably close to being on the 4th. She was worried she wouldn't have enough yarn. I'm about ready to finish my second, and this is as much as I've gotten. And yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy because it's a 4-weight. It's a 4-weight yarn. Lion Brand Divigation, Roving Divigation. But you know what? Something I really didn't think about when she and I decided to make this. She lives in Arizona. And even if she was in northern Arizona, I don't know that I would have, I just didn't think it through. It's too heavy. It's really too heavy for someone that lives in Arizona. But she said that she will probably give it to her granddaughter. So there's that. And I told her, you know, she doesn't even need to put the cowl on it if she doesn't want to. I mean, I can't even imagine wearing that cowl in Arizona because you fold it over and it's really thick. It's a very thick cowl collar that you fold over and almost looks like a donut around your neck because it's so thick and rounded. She probably ought to just forego, Vicki, if you're watching, you ought to just forego that collar. Or like I told you, just do like 5 rows and leave it at that. I would not make a tall collar for that thing at all. So I'll probably work on that some more today. Maybe I'll have it done by the end of the week. Who knows? I'm trying to look in the lens on the back side of my camera, and it's really hard to get used to. I've got a mirror on the other side so that I can see the front facing part. And so I'm looking in the mirror, or you know, in the reflection in the mirror instead of looking at the lens. Anyway, in my last video, I believe I talked about an expected acquisition that was going to be coming from Amazon. So I wanted to share that. And I had mentioned that on Amazon, if you search, and this goes across the board, you know, if there's something that you want and the price is just too high, just keep looking every day. And sometimes you can either get it, it's marked down, or there's an option to buy new or buy used. If there's that option, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to buy the used one, especially if there's a significant price difference. I will buy used because usually it's fine. But when it comes to yarn art cakes, there is a listing on Amazon where it lists a whole bunch of colors. And every once in a while, I will check and see if there's anything that's under $10. Yesterday, there wasn't. I mean, there was, but I already have that color, so I'm not going to get it again. But at the time that I bought this one was also $9.99. And I mentioned it the other day, so I wanted to show it to you. It is color number 305. And it's purple, like light lavender on the outer, to a light pink, to a little darker pink in the center. And this is how it arrived, nicely packed. So that's a Yarn Art Flowers cake. So 250 grams, 1,000 meters, 1,035 yards. No. What's it say? 1,095? Anyway, 250 grams. 1,000 meters. I love this yarn. This is the greatest shawl yarn ever. I really like it. So I was glad to find it for less than $10. Great. Let's see if there's anything else I was supposed to talk about. I think that's all I was supposed to talk about today. It's a beautiful day here in West Central Missouri. I was sitting outside with the dog crocheting a couple times. But, you know, every time the mail person comes or kids walk by, Goober's got to bark. So I brought him back in. I tried to get the rabbit and take him outside. He won't let me catch him. He won't let me catch him. It's like 70 degrees out today. And, you know, I would love for him to be outside in the sun eating some grass, but he won't let me catch him. So we'll try again another day. I'm probably going to have to get like a cat carrier and throw some food in there and coax him in and then bring him up that way. That's probably the only way I'm going to be able to take him outside till he gets more used to me and lets me carry him or at least pick him up. Goodness. I tried putting a towel over him, you know, so that I could swaddle him and pick him up that way. He wasn't having it. Nope. Not having it. So, all right. I think that's all I've got, you guys. I'm not going to ramble on anymore. Thank you for watching. If you've stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. We're getting close to 500. And as I've mentioned, I will probably do a giveaway once we hit 500, and it will be a shawl giveaway. This might be one of the shawls that I offer up to choose from, this leafy shawl. This might very well be one that I offer. I'll probably pick, I don't know, 3 or 4 that the winner chooses. And, you know, it's your choice what shawl you'd like. So as we get closer, we'll talk more about that. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. Remember, God loves you. Jesus loves you. And I love you. You guys take care and have a great rest of your day. God bless. Love you guys. Bye.